Welcome to the BBC News at 6. Britain is set to become the first country to allow genetic material from 3 people to create a baby. The aim is to prevent couples from passing severe disabilities to their children that then continue down the generations. Draft legislation is to be introduced later this year to permit the groundbreaking IVF procedure, but some critics say the technique is unethical, as our medical correspondent Fergus Walsh reports.
A bold step for science and society. These images under the microscope show the very moment DNA from 3 people is mixed to create a human embryo in order to eliminate devastating genetic disorders. The scientists in Newcastle who carried out those safety tests in a dish now have the green light from government and could start treating patients within 2 years. So how will this treatment help some couples at risk of passing on genetic diseases? Well, it begins with a fertilised egg. At the centre, the nuclei containing all the crucial genes from our parents. They are removed, leaving behind the faulty mitochondria. These are the energy factories of cells. The nuclei are transferred to another woman's egg. Now, the resulting embryo will have 22,000 genes from the parents and just 37 genes from the second woman's healthy mitochondria. Scientists say it's a bit like changing the battery in a laptop, and that genetic change will benefit all future generations.
This is not about tampering with who we are. The genes from our mother and father that make us what we look like, how we behave, are in the nucleus. The only genes in the mitochondria, which incidentally has no paternal linkage at all, are the genes to provide energy for that cell to function.
I do it.
This was Edward 3 years ago, before his death from a rare mitochondrial disorder. His mother Sharon had 6 other affected children, all of whom died within a few days of birth. A public consultation showed broad support for the technique, but critics say it's a step towards designer babies.
A child is something to be loved unconditionally, not dependent upon, what its characteristics are. Once we start manipulating our children's characteristics, you do just turn them into another consumer commodity.
Mitochondrial diseases are rare. Just 5 to 10 couples a year are expected to benefit. Before that, there'll be a free vote in the Commons to approve this key step for medicine and society.
Well, Fergus is with me now. This is a huge step, but just explain a little bit more about its significance, what it could mean in the future.
Well, so if this is going to fix a genetic fault that has plagued many of these families for generations, it won't just fix it for the next generation, but every generation to come. So hugely significant for them. We're not talking about a lot of people here. 1 in 6,500 babies has a mitochondrial disorder. So important for the families. But it's also important because the DNA that will come from that extra person, the mixing of 3 people's DNA, has never been allowed before. And that too will be permanent, passed down from generation to generation. So we've got to be sure it's safe. Now you can trace the science here, the British science, back to the world's first test tube baby, Louise Brown, in 1978, and even the discovery of the structure of DNA in 1953. And it places again Britain at the forefront of genetics and human biology.
Fergus, thank you very much.